how long are these contracts for? She said 3 years. So I said, let me get this straight. You want to own me for 3 years to take 70% of my ad revenue, keep me in your studio from 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening for 4 to 5 days a week, and you are not guaranteeing me any money. I said respectfully, for what reason would I work for your company? She said, because we have a great studio and we have great lighting and we have great editors that will edit your stuff down. Now, I may be a lot of things, but I'm not an idiot.
All right, guys, today I got a video coming from Shirai Garvey, which used to be Just Purely Things podcast mate. Right now, Just Purely Things is going viral because of her recent controversy interview with Nick Fuentes. Hopefully I said that right. But one thing that I didn't notice is that I haven't seen Shirai Garvey anywhere, not even on any of her episodes. It's almost as if he upped and just vanished. Well, in this video, we're going to be reacting to his latest video where he explains what happened with Just Purely Things. And if you ask me, this is kind of shocking, and it kind of plays into what O'Shea Duke Jackson was talking about. I first didn't understand what was going on, but now after the interview with him, I see things a little bit more clear. Let's get to it.
Before we even get started,
Tell him.
if you have watched 2 or more of our videos and you have not subscribed, then we have what, pal?
Beef.
What do we have?
Beef.
Exactly, so you better get doing that right now. Before we
Tell 'em.
even get started, all right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have watched 2 or more of our videos
Uh-huh.
and you have not subscribed,
Tell him.
then we have what, pal?
Beef.
What have we got?
Beef.
Exactly, so you better get doing that right now.
And these are the parts that I was used to seeing whenever it came between her and Pearl. Seemed like he was standing really strong, really promoting the podcast. But you also have to realize he was doing podcasting before she moved to England. All right, let's get back to it.
I'm making this video today that I didn't initially want to make. But there comes a time when we're all at a crossroad and have to make a decision. And sometimes that decision can affect you morally, it can affect you spiritually, and it can affect you financially. But it's a decision that we can't shy away from. Now recently, Just Purely Things has been caught up in some controversy. Why? She has interviewed avid racist and known racist Nick Fuentes. He is also an anti-Semite. What did Pearl do when she interviewed him? What she done is that she laughed with him and seems to agree with a lot of his points.
Talk about instances of like when they initially freed the slaves, there were some slaves that felt so indebted to their owners that they would travel across states to pay them back, and they actually had a really good relationship with them.
And I don't really take that to the heart. The reason why blacks shouldn't take it to heart, because Harriet Tubman said the same thing out of her mouth. She said, I could have freed 1,000 more slaves if they only knew they were slaves. She had a lot of slaves that did not want to come with her on the Underground Railroad because they felt like they needed to stay with their master. They were really indebted to their master. They really wanted to be with their master. So what Just Purely Things is saying kind of coordinates with what Harriet Tubman said. I just thought I'll put that out there before people start taking things a little personal.
I helped Pearl grow her channel. Okay, I was on there week to week and I was working with her based on a fee. So the tragic death of Kevin Samuels happened and there was a vacuum within the Manosphere space. Who was it going to be filled by? It was actually filled by Just Purely Things along with other content creators. Now, I believe that the reason why this space was filled is because Kevin Samuels had a large following of black men. And these black men were essentially fed up with the way feminism had taken over their community, specifically their women. So when he died, there was a vacuum and a lot of black men looking for content like this. And it was filled by Pearl. And I believe that Pearl rose to fame because she herself was the opposite of what those men had been seeing. She was a white woman. She wasn't the types of women that they had been seeing. And essentially, she was regurgitating Kevin Samuels' content.
All right, let's stop right there. because that's where it makes a lot of sense. He's right. Soon as Kevin Samuels died, there was a void, and it seemed like she picked up the void. Now, the problem here is she's looking at it from a business mindset. Everybody's looking at it from a business mindset. Everyone that does this content is trying to profit. So they're going to come in it looking like a business. But do you blame her for seeing opportunity, or do you blame the black men that chose to be led by the white woman? They chose to go follow her after following a black man. So who do you blame? You blame Kevin's audience, or do you blame Pearl for coming into the community and gaining monetized gain? Both were gaining monetized gain. All the content creators are blaming are going for monetized gain. But he's right. You have to blame the black men that chose to go over there and make her famous too. Why? Kevin has millions of subscribers, and she picked up his millions of subscribers that needed a void to be filled. I absolutely agree with Sarai Garvey. Let's get back to it.
In the beginning, I started to think that maybe this girl has a colonial mindset. Now, we all know that we don't want to be paranoid, so I kept working with her. However, the more I worked with her is the more that I saw. She had a colonial type viewpoint when it came to black people. And I had to school her a few times on what it was like to be black and the black experience, and also what slavery and colonization was actually like.
This is the part that I want a lot of guys and women out there to pay attention to whenever it comes to Pearl. Just because they're coming into this space and they're saying the things that you like doesn't mean that they relate to you. And I've said this 100 times. If you want to be a content creator in this space, all you have to do is pander to men who have been hurt by women and repeat the things over and over again that gets you the views. It's always the same phrases. Modern women this, modern women that, women are bad this, divorce courts are bad, divorce rates are high, this is that. There are certain phrases in this space that if you repeat them over and over again, you will gain an audience. But it doesn't mean that the person that's telling you it relates to your pain. This is what you want to pay attention to right here.
There's a book, right, called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Mm-hmm. And when you read that book, you realize that the whole Industrial Revolution and stuff like that was started because of the colonization. And you just think, well, if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't be as successful.
See, what you have to understand is when you're talking to someone just like Just Purely Things, she's an educated white woman that's coming from a successful family. You have to realize her dad is extremely rich. He's almost a billionaire. So they've already taught her from an economical standpoint of view what to do business-wise. What he's saying to her is nothing, because that's her game plan. That's how business is. There's no freebies. There's no fairism whenever it comes to business. That's what she's looking at it from her point of view. She's not looking at it like, oh, they use you to get ahead. They're using black people to get ahead. Oh my God, they're using black people to get ahead. Oh Lord. They're looking at it like that's business. Chinese have people that have been used. You have the Europeans were used at one point. Middle Eastern were used. At some point, somebody was being used for monetized gain. And I always tell you, if you're not chasing your dream, then you're helping someone else accomplish theirs.
And in that video, what you saw was me attempting to tell Pearl and show Pearl what colonization was like. How people went to another group of people and took their resources and took what was theirs and built their empire off of it. So when Pearl now plays like she doesn't know what colonization is, and she doesn't know what slavery is, and she says these insensitive statements, in that video I actually attempted to give her a book. It was called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. I've read it myself. She semi-dismissed that book. She kind of dismissed that book. And then she went on with herself to go and interview a man like Nick Fuentes. Pearl has Africans that work for her. Now, Nigeria has many issues. Now, the disparity in Nigeria has rich and poor people living just on the breadline. And Pearl has these types of people working for her. They edit her videos. They make her thumbnails.
So look what I have here. This is evidence to show how hard my Americans work.
No, hold on. You forgot, yeah? This is how hard my white Americans work.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
They're very hard workers.
Yes.
I like how they work. My white Americans really work hard. You see that?
They inspire us to work harder.
No. Do you know what? They don't even inspire. They're working hard for themselves, bro.
I don't want to downplay the YouTube plaque, but this is fairly easy to get nowadays with just a few shorts. You could shoot up to 100,000 subscribers in a matter of a month or so with shorts now. I just thought I'd go ahead and put that out there because, yes, these plaques behind us is pretty much watered down at this point.
Africans are being fed, they're taking money from her, they are feeding their family. Amazing. However, with a colonial mindset, this can be quite dangerous. And what happened during that interview with Nick Fuentes was that she used an age-old tactic that colonizers use, which was the divide and rule tactic. She pitted African Americans versus Africans when she spoke about how hard Africans work compared to how hard African Americans work. And
yeah, but that's not really, you got to realize he's over in England. So he sees it from a different angle. I know over here in America, I know the Africans do outwork the African Americans. That's just how it is. Plain and simple. Everybody sees that, but it's not a divide and conquer situation. It's actually facts because we say that about Africans that are over here. They work hard. A lot of African Americans are lazy and spoiled. Those are facts as well. And if your butt hurt, bye.
Myself and Pearl sat down to have a conversation about me signing to her contractually. And I want to make this very clear. I have never signed to the Just Pearly Things network. I have always been an independent. Pearl has known that, and I have known that. And so anytime I worked with Pearl, we had agreed a fee, and I worked for that fee. I have never been signed to the Just Pearly Things contracts. However, she has signed a few Africans, namely King Riches and Auntie Jenny. Now, I have no problem with a King Riches or an Auntie Jenny. However, if we look at the contracts that they signed, you would understand the reason why I use the term colonization and colonial. Now, myself and Pearl sat down to have a conversation, and
he's never seen a music contract before. That's what it is. He's never seen a television contract before. I'm pretty sure they're making way more than those contracts. I can guarantee you that.
Expressed to me that she wanted to do a new segment for her show. In that segment, she said that she would like me to present a topical news show on a day-to-day basis. So I said, okay, no problem. Talk to me. What are we talking about? And she said she would want me within her studio 4 days per week. I said, okay, from what time? She said from 10 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. And I said, okay, well, that is 7 hours. I said, so working 4 to 5 days a week for 7 hours is essentially a day job. I said to her, okay, so what is my guaranteed fee at the end of the month? What is the salary? And she looks at me and she says, we do not do guarantees and we do not do salaries. So if you don't do guarantees and you don't do salaries, what is it that you actually do? And she said she does percentages. So I said, okay, cool. Well, what's the percentage? She said, Sarah, you're the high end, so you will get 70-30. So I said, fine, okay, let me listen. 70% goes to me and 30% goes to you. Now she looked at me and she said, no, 70% goes to me, Pearl, and 30% goes to me, Sarah Garvey.
You see the look on his face right now? Let's see why she would say that to him. Because if I knew I had my own podcast and somebody came and gave me an offer like that, trust me, I'm going to have the same look on my face. Let's get to it.
And that's when I started scratching my head. And I said, hang on a minute. So are you telling me that's a high-end contract for you? And she said, yes. And I said, so are you saying that Just Pearly Things Network has other people on low-end contracts? She said yes. I said King Rich's and Auntie Jenny? She said yes. I said, what's the low end? She said it's 10 to 15%. So essentially, she could be owning 80% of the content, which is basically the monetized views on somebody's channel, and they only take home 15% of the money. She said yes.
Because it's just like a record label. She's looking at it like, my name is Just Purely Things. I've built myself up a substantial amount of subscribers that's going to keep people watching. We have people behind the scenes that are going to keep the content rolling to keep us in the algorithm. So with her paying other employees, the cameraman, the digital marketing people to cut down the videos, do thumbnails and put it out, it all swings back to him. This is why she's offering that type of deal. It's because all he has to do is show up and film, but she's paying other people to make sure that there are people that are going to be watching the videos. She isn't the only one that does this. Fresh and Fit don't have people signed to them, but this is what they do behind the scenes. They have people getting paid to keep them inside of the algorithm. The difference between her and Fresh and Fit is that Fresh and Fit has way less employees, but pump out the same amount of volume as she does, which means they're splitting the money less ways.
How long are these contracts for? She said 3 years. So I said, let me get this straight. You want to own me for 3 years to take 70% of my ad revenue, keep me in your studio from 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening for 4 to 5 days a week, and you are not guaranteeing me any money. I said respectfully, for what reason would I work for your company? She said, because we have a great studio and we have great lighting and we have great editors that will edit your stuff down. Now, I may be a lot of things, but I'm not an idiot.
All right, guys, go over to the Shirai Garvey channel where you can watch the rest of this. There's about 10 minutes left. When it's all said and done, I just want people to understand that when it comes to YouTube and it comes to the Matrix, no one has your back. The Matrix is not designed for the viewers to win. The Matrix is designed for the Matrix to win. The viewers, the people that are taking all this personal, you're just collateral damage. You're the one that's going through emotional pain, arguing back and forth, debating. I disagree. I agree. No, you're collateral damage. You're just there for views. You're the toy. You shouldn't take none of this personal. It's all entertainment. When you hot, you hot. When you not, you not. All right? Comment, like, subscribe to both of my channels. Hasta la vista.